That comic podcast.
Hello. Welcome to That Comic Podcast. I'm your host, Meti, and with me, as always, are my wonderful sidekicks. First, Mr. P. Features.
Hello, Internet.
That was good. And then there's Lancelot.
Cyclops sucks.
Sometimes.
Yep.
I mean,
Sucks.
it's true.
SUCKS.
It's true. He does from time to time. You can't say he doesn't. Features, I know you like Cyclops, but even as a Wolverine fan, I can admit there are times that Wolverine sucks. You should be able to realize that there are times that Cyclops unquestionably sucks.
No, there are
More
times
often
when
than
he
not.
does suck.
And there are times that he doesn't. There are times that he's great, like that one free comic book day this year. He had a great little, took
And
out the
there's
whole
times-
X-Men fast.
Where he does, like pocket sand.
All right. Well, the reason that we're recording today is something that's been kind of floating around the interwebs that caught my attention. Is something that we've been talking about on this show for actually a very long time, since the original book came out in 2022. And that is, there's a potential that the MCU might be bringing Judgment Day storyline to the broader landscape. And that's wild, because Judgment Day was a crazy crossover that, I'm not going to lie, I only read the original 6 issues. I did not care about all the tie-ins because I'm not a big Eternals fan, but I know Features was pretty into that when it came out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Because that was, I mean, yeah, I was, because it was X-Men, and like it came in the middle of the Krakoa era, which, you know, that was a big thing for X-Men, but AXE happening was like, that was another, I think, very good story arc that happened. It
was great. It was great. But the problem also is it came on the heels of X-Men vs. Inhumans, which was, a couple years earlier, and everyone hated vehemently. So when they were like, we're making an Eternals movie and they're going to fight the X-Men, we're all like, oh, God, not again. Oh, no. But no, they did a lot of setup in that to get to that book to where it was. And the reason why that book is really important is it does not only a good job of bringing over all of these big 3 teams together, but expanding on the lore of who the Eternals are, but more importantly, readjusting the way that the X-Men could be brought into the broader MCU, because they really do a lot of retconning on how life came about on Earth in the first place, and how the X-Men are involved with the Eternals and the Deviants, which was a really cool way of going about it.
Yeah.
So real fast, let's just do a quick little breakdown on the book, because the book was Kieran Gillen wrote it. It was in 2022. It was only 6 issues, but a crap ton of the Death of the X-Men was one of them. Judgment Day
So
was
many
one. There was a lot of tie-ins.
It
wasn't many issues of the book, but it was like Spider-Verse, where you had to read a whole lot in order to get the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it was also Eternals heavy, so a lot of people skipped it, because as much as Marvel was trying to make the Eternals special at that time, no one cared.
Yeah, and the sad part is you had to read the Eternals prior to get the gist of it, what was about to happen.
To be honest, the whole book, as far as both the X-Men and the Eternals were concerned, you needed a lot of homework to make it make sense.
Yeah.
There was a lot of work that led into this book, into the crossover, but it was still a really fun read. So the nuts and bolts of it, without going into too much detail, maybe we'll talk about some of our favorite moments, but just the gist of the book is that while the Deviants have pretty much been beaten back, the existence of X-Men come from a deviant gene that was in their system to eventually blossom into mutants. So it was humanity merging with deviants. Now, originally, from what I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but in the older, broader Marvel lore, it was the Celestials would show up on Earth. They would create the Eternals and the Deviants and the humans, and then they would let the Deviants and the Eternals fight it out to figure out who was the more dominant, and then they would judge that planet based on which of those 2 races succeeded. If the Deviants succeeded, that planet was gone.
Right.
But they also introduced the X gene as like chaos factor. So after so many thousands or 100,000 years or whatever the crazy number was, that the X gene would then show up in people, and then humans could now stand toe to toe with Eternals and Deviants.
Yes.
So if neither of them could get a stronghold, all of a sudden the humans have the ability to fight back, which is what modern mutants became. Which, we were all cool with that for a very long time, as long as I'm not getting that wrong, and I'm pretty sure I'm not.
No, I think you're spot on.
Yeah.
Now, in the new one, and they did a lot of precursor work to set this up, which is there was one of the oldest of the Celestials crash landed on Earth while it was being attacked, and it was bleeding out into the soil, and its blood then became life as we know it on the planet.
Right.
And the deviant gene at some point was passed to humans, which was why the Eternals in this new arc are willing to fight the X-Men, because their mission in life is to wipe out the deviants. And while they may have succeeded, I forget the term they used throughout the book, extra deviations or something like that.
Yeah.
X deviations, or I forget, something along those lines.
It was something like that. I can't remember the exact word, but we'll stick with like just the deviation, the deviant deviation.
They bring it up a lot, but what they're referring to is the X-Men.
Yeah.
So that, and then it becomes a whole fight between first the X-Men and the Avengers trying to hold off. It was who's the mind control dude? Keurig.
Oh, Druid.
Keurig.
Yeah, and if you guys remember Druid from the Eternals movie, for whoever did watch that out there, Druid was the guy that you kind of like went off on his own into the woods and just kind of had that following of people, that cult following. He didn't want to deal with the plan of the Celestials anymore in the movie.
Well, he was essentially the leader of all of the the Eternals at this point. And what's cool about the book is we learn that the Eternals population is much larger than we think it is. So there's your basic Eternals, and not all of them have kind of picked the side of the Eternals. But then there's also these gigantic, they almost look like mech robots, but they're supposed to be Eternals that are there to wipe out the X-Men. And essentially, what Druig says to the world is, "Hey, these mutants have figured out how to bring themselves back, and we can't allow that because that's our thing, and that's copyright infringement. So I'm gonna wipe them out because they're a little too close to what makes us special."
Yeah, I want to add though, because in that note, on that note, the Eternals were very hypocritical because their resurrection process actually killed people. Whereas the X-Men
it killed somebody somewhere at random, right? There was no rhyme or reason to it.
Yep.
That's true, but they don't care.
No,
nope.
Because again, the Eternals suck.
Yes.
Look, I like the Eternals movie. I am not one of the people who think that was a bad movie, and I know I've now said too many times of the bad things that I like. But I don't think Eternals is that terrible because it's unique in the fact that it has no real villain.
Right.
That you can see the motivation for every single person, and you can justify any of their stances on why they need to do what they do. And I think that's something Marvel doesn't do a lot. They have pretty cookie cutter villains.
Yeah.
Like that's what made Killmonger so good, is that you understood his reasoning. That's why it made MCU Thanos more interesting than, well, maybe more interesting. I guess that's debatable, but we'll call it differently interesting to his comic book counterpart.
Interesting adjacent.
Interesting adjacent. That's a good way to put it. I like that. But speaking of Thanos, that's another major character who's brought into this, which is, as we know, Thanos is an Eternal, and his grandfather plays a very big role. And boy, oh boy, in 20 minutes does he show the world why he's important. And when I say world, I mean Mars.
and specifically Araco, which was the secondary home of the mutants from Earth,
and arguably the
literally
strongest,
filled with Omega level
division.
mutants.
Yeah.
Yes, all Omega mutants.
The D1 planet of mutants.
D1.
I mean, that's the one you want to be on. I mean, I know it didn't. At the end of that 20 minutes, you definitely didn't want to be there. But before that was the home team.
Right.
That was Cable. That was Storm. That was
Magneto.
Magneto had such a cool moment.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Magneto was cool.
Yeah.
He got his heart ripped out of his body. And
spoiler alert! Big old spoiler alert! All right, now go ahead. We said it.
And then he just wills himself to live. He uses his magnetic powers to move his blood around to be able to act
carry
as
oxygen.
a heart.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
And
just long enough.
For everybody goes like, how did he move his blood? He only controls metal. The iron in his blood specifically.
Well, they don't necessarily say that, but we all kind of just go with it. It makes the most sense.
But man, that was a moment.
I mean, I thought the crazier moment was the one, I forget the mutant's name, that creates metal.
Oh,
and he's just using them like an ammo bag.
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah, there was a lot of really cool moments, but Uranus, Thanos' grandfather,
Yeah.
which, make all the jokes you want. You wouldn't make those jokes if he showed up. I'm just saying.
Right.
No.
He is one of the most terrifying villains because he has an hour essentially to wipe out the mutant menace on Mars, and does it in 20 minutes. And
his pretty much walks around Mars after that. It's like, hey, I think
it's just wrecks
some good work.
Everybody.
He mentions, he's just like, hey, so like I know this is taking you guys centuries and millennia, but I'm gonna undo it in like an hour.
Yeah.
Like just time me. Let's go.
Time me.
Basically.
So it's an interesting book. It's definitely worth a read. It's a very long, if you pull everything together, it's really long, but I don't know of how much of the tie-ins that you need to go into. But the 6 issues that the actual book's about is interesting because in the middle of the book, where you think that it's mostly just about this fight, it takes a wild turn where the Avengers essentially resurrect the original Celestial through building their own version by all pieces of Celestials that were left over on the planet.
Yep.
And they think that it's going to be their buddy when they turn it on. And woo, are they wrong? And he essentially says, we're judging you. And if you don't pass the judgment, if there's more bad than good on this planet, we're wiping the planet out, which... If we remember the end of the Eternals movie and the post-credit scene with Arishem, I guess that's not the post-credit scene, but the Arishem scene where he's like, I'm coming back for Judgment Day.
Yes.
We have been theorizing this for a long time. And remember, I kept saying we were going to get an Arishem Galactus fight?
Yeah. But
I don't think that's going to happen anymore, but good Lord, do I want this movie.
Dude, if this has been in Marvel's plans, man, they've been cooking and I can't wait.
I don't think it is. I think it is to, like, how when they announce movies, they just show us a lot of logos and they're like, we're going to do this.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what this is. I think they've always had it in the plan because they wanted the Eternals to be something special and it would have been a really cool Avengers crossover, and they could have just done Avengers versus Eternals in the same kind of story. Yeah. But now the emphasis is so much on bringing the X-Men in. I'm sure they changed their plans a bit, but how they pull this off, when they pull this off, and in which phase do they try it is the big question.
Yeah. I see, like, in 5 years-ish, after Doomsday is over, after we get the new casting of the Avengers characters, the Captain Americas and stuff, we were already laying the groundwork for a lot of these characters. But we already got Doom, who's an important character in this. We're getting the X-Men. We've already got Beast in one of those movies, so we're on the right path for this thing to actually happen.
Yeah.
Well, and it's probably a means of introducing the X-Men. I mean, if they do it before Secret Wars, which I don't think's probably going to happen, but let's say they do, it'll be more time we spend with this X-Men Doomsday team. Because remember, there's rumor of an X-Men movie before any of this. Like, there's rumor of one recently happening, and we all kind of assumed that was going to be Avengers versus X-Men. But what if that movie is AXE? What if it's X-Men Judgment Day?
Yo.
Yeah.
And they introduce us to the team there, right then and there, and then we already know the Avengers, so we don't need to be introduced to them. We already know the Eternals, we don't need to be introduced to them. We just get that story through the mutants, and we get it at the Xavier Mansion instead of Krakoa.
With them building up Doom to be what Doom should be in this universe of the MCU, we get this moment, spoiler alert, in Judgment Day, where he's getting ready to be judged, and he's like, "No, I pass."
Which would be incredible.
Right.
I mean, after the flop of Captain America 4, it can't be Sam Wilson who gets judged.
Yeah,
right.
Because there was a really awkward moment where Cap's getting judged, and he does not get judged properly.
No,
I do not agree with the Celestial's opinion of Captain America, because he's like, "You're a failure," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." You notice how everybody listens when he speaks, right?
Yes.
The whole book, whatever he says goes.
Like every time. And I think that probably was the one time where Captain America didn't come through, and it was just because people were so terrified. They just like, I don't want to hear that, Cap. You're trying to say it.
Well, it was they were judging him on things that are not really his. It's not his decision to make. Right. He can't force the country to be great. And that's what he was getting judged on. We're going way too into the weeds, the comic here. So let's reel it back into the MCU. I'm just saying that you can't do it necessarily with Sam. But you know who you could do it with? Steve, who caused the incursions.
Yep.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah,
And now
yeah.
you can judge him, because if that's all the Doomsday rumors right now is that Doom is trying to hunt down Steve for causing the incursions, you can also have Arishem say you're a failure because you doomed the multiverse in trying to have a life.
Right? Yep.
So there's an interesting way you can still do that, but I don't think any of that's going to happen. I mean, the way I'd see it is Lance in a box is probably right. That's probably going to be after Secret Wars, and it's going to be after the reboot and all that stuff. So we'll already have Steve and stuff, and it'll be a redone timeline. But if they do it beforehand, it's the Xavier Mansion, and Arakko is now Geonosia.
Yep.
On this new, it can do. And the nice thing is, after Doomsday, you can say that it's a merged world. So you can have you can have it be a singular timeline that's been merged together. You know what I mean?
And it still works because the Celestials exist outside of.
It's weird how they're gonna pull that part off because it's for him to come back and judge everybody after an event like Secret Wars.
Right.
Just seems
give us
unfair.
a break.
Yeah, right. Like, bro, it's a whole different timeline.
Right.
Do not.
Can we get adjusted?
We've recast the entire Eternals team. You can't judge us for their actions. This is the Justice Gang now, all right? You don't judge us from them.
So many people were saying, like that there was so many MCU movies and TV shows that they were just like, we're going to pretend that didn't happen. But lately we've been getting a lot of loose ends being tied up. Do you think that this was the long game, that they knew what they were doing the entire time? Or is this something that like, we're going to fix this and we're going to be better with the MCU?
I think it feels like it could have been long game, but honestly, I would probably say they've taken lemons and are making some very sweet lemonade. If this is going to be the process,
that's an interesting way to put that. I think it's probably a little of column A, a little column B. I think they started throwing stuff at the wall in post-credit scenes that they intended to pick up later, but then the things started to change when audiences started to leave. So
I'm still waiting for Hercules.
Oh, sure. And that's Thor 5 will have Hercules. But I bet you it's not going to be a great Hercules thing. It'll probably be like a team up. And it won't be what the original plan was, whatever the original plan was. And you can argue there might not have been an original plan. They just were like, hey, if the Eternals do well, let's do Judgment Day.
Right.
Because I'll tell you what, that is a hell of a way to end with Arishem the Judge showing back up. Like, you guys have, like, what did you give him, a year or whatever?
Did he say? Yeah, I think it was like
I forget how much time he gave him, because, again, I haven't watched. Look, I don't hate that movie, but let's not act like I've watched it a bunch either.
Right.
Doesn't have the rewatchability as some of the other MCU projects. But I do think the bringing Arishem back and closing that thread in a way that brings the broader MCU together is a huge way of making the Eternals popular in a way their solo movie just couldn't do.
Yes, I agree.
And it's not a bad way. It's not a bad way to close the chapter on the Eternals and then never bring them up again.
Ever again.
True.
Oh, it's Inhumans, right?
No,
right.
It's the same thing with the Inhumans. We've been through this already with the TV show for the Inhumans.
Right.
We saw what they did to the X-Men during that. Just like when the Eternals were coming around, they had a lot to do with the X-Men because they really wanted to figure out an easy, we'll call it the cosmic cube to Space Stone connection to the mutants on Earth. Because we kept trying to figure out how in the world do you bring mutants into the broader MCU. And we know in the multiverse that mutants already exist. So it's not going to be some shit like they bring mutants in from another universe.
Right.
That's not happening. There's already a reason in the birth of the world why there are mutants, and this is a much easier way to go about it.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And you could do some crazy stuff like use magic to remove Tiamat from I think that's his name. From the center of the Earth. And And here's the thing: what if you don't do Lifebringer Galactus? You bring Tiamat back as the Lifebringer and have him fight Arishem.
Ooh.
That's
it's a way to bring
task.
in.
It is.
It's a way to bring in the originals, the original Celestials' meaning for existence, right? And he was also the one that crash landed on the Earth. Remember, he was a mountain for a very long time before anybody realized he was
the progenitor was Tiamat. Tiamat was actually being born in the MCU.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that you can merge those two together in some degree.
Yeah.
So you can use, and then you can also merge him with the concept of Lifebringer Galactus that they did in Secret Wars. Remember, at the end of Secret Wars, we get a version of Galactus that's controlled by
Franklin, right?
Franklin that brought life to the multiverse again. You could have Tiamat be the one that does that. You can have Franklin be the one that brings Tiamat back,
Oh,
using
yeah.
Doctor Strange to get him out without destroying the Earth, and
I
then
like
have
that.
him be the life bringer.
You know what? If that's going to be the case, then this definitely happens after Secret Wars, and we need the
For sure.
Fantastic Four in the universe, and that makes everything solid.
It doesn't make it solid. It makes it way better than what I think Secret Wars' actual end was. I thought kind of a cop out, and I didn't love.
Okay.
So for
Yeah.
big old spoiler alert for Secret Wars, the 2015 Jonathan Hickman, at the end of that book is a great moment between Doom and Reed, and Doom admits that he's not better than Reed, and it's a really cool fight. But then they have the problem of recreating the multiverse, and it's Franklin creating universes like he does, and then his dad throwing them out into the void. That's dumb. The fact that Mr. Fantastic was throwing universes out, like that would eventually blossom into timelines, was stupid. Now, if you do it, because we've already seen what a Celestial can do, if you have Franklin resurrect Tiamat, you can have Tiamat already have the power established in the MCU to recreate timelines and worlds.
The pieces are already there.
Exactly. So
Yep.
you change it. You don't make it Galactus anymore. You make it he controls a Celestial.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
Kinda
Now, do we
works.
see that in on screen, or do we see that in a tie-in comic?
On screen.
On screen.
On screen?
On screen. What's that? Chekhov's gun?
Yeah, we're talking
Show it in
like
the first
Secret
act?
Wars budget for this type of thing, right?
Listen,
Well, yeah.
their
Well, I think
budget.
it's the way you end Secret Wars. I think it's the post-credit scene of Secret
Oh,
Wars.
right. Yeah.
Is Franklin creating universes with Tiamat.
That would be dope.
Yeah. Oh,
That
man.
would be dope.
I think it's a good way to do it, and it ushers in the new timeline very easily. And you can even you do a mid-credit scene of creating universes, and then you do a post-credit scene that's like 3 years later, and then you get your new Steve Rogers, you get your new Iron Man, you get the world as you've always known it. You get people talking about the X-Men, you get people talking about Spider-Man, and it's like, oh my God, it's the Marvel universe we've always wanted on screen. Everybody's together, a singular timeline of all of the stories and possibilities that we've always wanted.
And all will be right with the world.
Yep. My body is ready.
Sort of.
Now, what'll be really interesting, and I actually want to throw this over to Lance because I have a feeling this is going to play a role in a lot of stuff moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it, but it's Jeff the Shark.
Oh yeah. So for the last several MCU movies, our kid-friendly character has been Baby Groot, and everyone loves Baby Groot. But in
Who
the
doesn't?
future, MCU wants to move away from Baby Groot and put Jeff the Land Shark in and give him that comic relief role as the adorable character, and I'm here for it.
I
you
love
know?
it. I love it. How do you introduce him?
Oh,
Oh, how do you introduce him?
Because
Oh my
from what
gosh.
I remember, the first time I saw Jeff the Land Shark, and again, I am not somebody who goes out and buys Jeff the Land Shark books. I
Yeah,
am not a
I
Jeff
did-
the Land
I-
Shark. I know, that's why I threw it to you. I know him from a Deadpool book.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you
That's
just have
about
him.
it.
Oh, you could have him like following Deadpool around and Deadpool just being really annoyed by it and just have it this small thing throughout the whole Secret Wars movie where he's just like, dude,
Oh
get,
God,
get
that would be
off of
so
me.
funny.
That
That
would be
character
funny.
saying how annoying he is, and he the whole time he's talking
Right.
about how annoying Jeff the Land Shark is.
Yes.
And he's like, you don't understand. This thing's just so annoying. And everyone's like, yeah, bro, we know.
Oh,
We get it.
man.
Yeah, that's
To
what's
have
fun
him
about it.
chewing up the credits at the end.
hey, yo.
I mean, it's a smart idea because Jeff the Land Shark is obviously, because of Rivals, wildly popular.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's the only character that is like, we've had Throg, we've had a bunch of animal variations of characters that have never made the kind of impact that
Mhm.
Jeff the Land Shark did since Rivals came out.
Crocodile.
Yes.
Loki.
And then,
Croaky didn't do
Crookie.
it.
and one of my favorite Jeff things is during the Venom War when he gets the Venom symbiote and he's Venom Jeff. It's freaking great. I would
Venom
love
Jeff.
to see that.
Jeff-em.
Venom Jeff. Yeah, but it's just something about just throwing Jeff on the name of things. Venom
Yes.
Jeff. Cosmic Jeff. You know, just Jeff is a funny.
For all the people that are going to see this, if you could just if you guys could share this enough so that some Marvel exec somewhere sees this, have Jeff the Shark. If there's any verse you can give him, Telegram, ma'am. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
No, it's Candygram.
Candygram.
Are you that land shark? No, Candygram. Flowers. Got flowers. Yeah, well, if he says Candygram one time, I'll lose my mind. It would be a perfect way to bring him in. It's just
I can't wait. If the rumors are true, I'm very excited about it.
Well, so we got a lot of interesting things with Marvel. I mean, look, I know that DC right now has everyone's attention, and other than Spider-Man. If it's not Spider-Man, no, it's DC right now.
Yeah.
But this kind of news, and the reason why I wanted to make sure we spent a little time on it, not only is it something that we've been talking about forever, and it being a potential, but this is the kind of way that you outdo Endgame.
It is.
Yes.
This is, and then the unfortunate truth is you're going to need a few Endgames to outdo Endgame. Endgame was so good, you can't just have an Endgame alternative. You need an Endgame that leads to an Endgame that ends in an Endgame. But this is Judgment Day is a good one to go into Doomsday, which is a good one to go into Secret Wars, or Doomsday, Judgment Day, Secret Wars. Actually, I mean, you should just keep the day thing going.
Here's the thing.
Doomsday, Judgment Day, Brand New Day.
There you go.
I don't know. There might be something there. I don't know.
You just cracked the code.
There might be something there. For anybody who, I don't think we actually even brought up where this was from. The reason where this all comes from, I think we said it briefly in the beginning. But it's from the Cosmic Circus from Alex Perez on his Q&A Discords that he does. He was asked, what projects are you most excited for and why? And by the way, he's a reputable leaker on this kind of stuff. He has been right on a lot of things, but like all leakers, he's been right on been wrong on a bunch of things as well. So take everything with a grain of salt. But his answer was, he said, that is announced, Brand New Day, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. That hasn't been announced, Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
That made me lose my mind.
Listen, even if they don't put it in the mix of all these things, Judgment Day itself could really just be the Mutant Saga. And I'd be okay with that too.
100%. That's exactly where I think it's going. Yeah,
it's a great way to start it, because you can even say that's the reason why the MCU hasn't had mutants, is that they quite literally, the deviants were wiped out and removed, and that's why the Eternals movie was so important. And that's why the Eternals were hiding the whole time. Where in other worlds, the Eternals were a much bigger deal and a part of it, because they were more connected, because mutants were everywhere and they weren't sure about why they were so activated.
Oh my goodness.
There are ways that you can make this work. I don't think they're going to go into that much detail, but regardless, it does seem like a smart move, especially when we're hearing words like Spider-Man 4 is going to be ripped right from a comic. Superman was ripped right from a comic. Like Fantastic Four ripped right from a comic. This is one of those events that you want ripped right from the comic as accurately as you can, in a world where a lot of these pieces aren't truly there. So they're gonna have to make a lot of changes. Like who Uranus is, no idea.
But he's literally like your next Thanos. Or the Thanos for that story.
Dude, you could make it King Thanos, that he was pulled from another timeline or something. Because remember, there was a rumor that Doomsday was going to bring in a series of multiversal villains.
Yes.
So you can have it just literally be a Thanos from the future who just, like we saw the King Thanos actual storyline where we got Cosmic Ghost Rider wrecking people, showing up with Pet Hulk. You know what I mean?
Oh my goodness. Isn't oh my goodness. In the AXE storyline, Thanos, isn't that when Thanos gets killed by the Juggernaut?
Very effortlessly, just kind of.
They shot him, like they miniaturized him and shot him through Thanos' skull. Listen, regardless,
we don't need to do everything. We don't need to do everything.
I do want to see the Krakoan eggs at some point, though.
You won't.
No, I
don't think we'll ever get to the Krakoa era.
Yeah, which is sad. But
actually, you know what? If they were going to do the Krakoa era, it would be right now before the reset.
Ooh,
yes,
show
just
us
to explain
what they could look like, and that they remember like the "We Are Your Gods Now" moments where they have their island, they have Genosha, they have Arakko. You can have another universe that already has that stuff laid out and set.
Yo.
So I don't know. There's a lot of potential in this idea, and I mean, give me a reason to theorize for the next 30 minutes, and I will.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Listen,
I will.
These are the things. This is the reason why the MCU gets us excited when they toss out ideas like this as possibilities. And
to be fair, they didn't toss it out. They don't want us to know about this. If this is true, they don't want us. They want us talking about it, but they're like, damn it.
This is as throwaway of a line as the Supernatural saga, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the Supernatural saga is still going to happen, but I think that's going to be after the reset.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that same caliber, this is right along with it, right?
It's the Day saga.
The day
Doomsday,
saga.
Judgment Day, brand new day.
All day.
All
Day, man.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll give you your day back. But do me a favor, if you enjoyed this, make sure you hit the like button. Give me some comments. Tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how The Eternals is a terrible movie and all that jazz. I'm used to it at this point. Go ahead and give Lance some shit because you like Cyclops, or give Feature some shit because you hate Cyclops. I mean, all of those are fun options as well.
Do it.
But go ahead, hit subscribe, do all the fun stuff that you're supposed to do. This is a blast. As always, I'm Menti.
And I'm Features.
And I'm Lance.
Excelsior.
That's that.